Hey everyone and welcome. I'm Ryan and this is Developers Garage. Good morning. Is that pronounced Chi Sharp? Let me know if I got it right or how you'd like it pronounced. Uh, it's been about a week since I last streamed and I've been kind of getting the itch again. So today I thought we'd do a little bit of different route. The last couple times been doing a couple of different little projects um, to get comfortable, get myself comfortable with streaming. It's not only my third stream, but and just to get in the habit of just live coding. Today I thought we'd basically move a little different route and move into the open source area. So one of the reasons I wanted to start streaming is because I wanted to start helping and contributing back to the open source community. I've used a lot of their projects in the past. I continue to use them with work, and I really want to move forward. Really want to give back and just help them out. And hopefully, you, the chat room, and anybody else who's watching this later wants to help out as well can go ahead and contribute just like we are, or just help us out on our projects. Today, I actually use a couple of different stream tools that our good friend Fritz, Jeff Fritz. If you haven't seen him or watched his stuff, I highly recommend you go to his Twitch channel, check it out. He's got a real treat for us tomorrow. He is going to dye his little soup catcher, his beard. He's going to dye it rainbow. He reached his 5,000 follower goal. I think it was on Sunday when he was doing a dual stream, and it's awesome. So tomorrow we'll get to see the reveal of that on his stream. He streams typically at 9 a.m. Eastern time. So if you're in the Central, it's going to be 10 o'clock, or maybe it's 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 Central. I think that's right. I think it's 9 Central, 10 Eastern. Anyways, check it out. He's always great entertainer, a great coder. You learn a lot from him for .NET into Azure stuff. So Chi Sharp says she believes it was Monday. Did they reach it on Monday? Possibly. But I did see his tweet. He is going to be in Redmond. So he's in Redmond now. And so he will be sharing it out tomorrow, at least from the latest tweets I saw. So let's switch on over. So I did get me a nice new fancy toy. I got a Stream Deck. One of the recommendations that Jeff Fritz had he's had out there. And I will say while it is a little pricey at $150 right now, US dollars, I'm finding it's well worth it, especially if you're streaming. I haven't got quite into the productivity for work development yet, but making it easier to switch scenes and hopefully play some sounds here in a little bit, it has greatly improved. So let's see here. Let's see if I can get a little better at this. Let's go switch on over to the coding screen here, and we're going to get started. Glenn Carr, welcome. I was just talking about Jeff Fritz, also known as C Sharp Fritz. You can catch him on Twitter as C Sharp Fritz, GitHub, same, and Twitch. So he is a program manager over at Microsoft. He does a lot of streaming about .NET products and .NET projects. He's really big into helping the community, helping developers understand how to do things and how to get things going. One of the things I love about this is the ability to show new developers and seniors like that not everybody has the answers. That those of us who've been around doing it a while, we struggle just like everybody else. Our Googling is just better. So that's hopefully what you're going to see here from me. I will say I don't know everything. There's a lot that I'm lacking. And especially with technology as it is today, it's so broad. It used to be years ago you could find your niche and know a lot about it. Computing over the past few decades, 3 decades, I would dare to say, has grown immensely. And so you kind of maybe silo yourself in one little area, such as desktop, web, or mobile. I've kind of started moving into the mobile, but I've done desktop and web. And I find that I like switching around. I don't like being siloed. I like learning a lot about a little bit. So a couple of the other little cool things that Mr. Fritz turned me on to is, so if you'll notice, you can't see anything behind me. So that's actually a green screen back there. And he has a couple little great little tips for lighting it. He's got some LEDs on his blog and that he recommends. And the awesome thing was that blew my mind was project green light onto a green screen rather than white. It makes the green, it helps make a more even green is what I found, and my green screen effects are much better, especially if you go back and watch some of my previous streams. But so one of the things we're going to be working on today is, let's see, point to the right direction. So right over there, if you look, you have a little agenda down there at the bottom. So that's actually part of Jeff's StreamTools kit. It's just a little widget, a little web page that we plug in. And right now, it's all static. So if I want to change what that stuff says, I have to actually take down my Docker container, go manually update the web files behind it, and then rebuild the Docker container and rerun it. And so that's just time consuming. So one of the things I want to do today is I thought we would start by making that editable on the fly. A couple of things, it already has an admin screen built in so you can hit the check marks. What we're going to do is we'll make that admin screen a little bit better by adding some editable text to there, as well as hopefully being able to add and insert items. Fair warning, it is written with Razor Pages, and I've not used Razor Pages ever. So we're all in for a treat today as we see, as we learn a lot more about Razor Pages. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up. As you can see, if you look at my face, you're going to see as it gets brighter as I put white stuff on the screen. I still have a little bit of lighting effects I need to work with, but with each stream, hopefully we get a little bit better. So we're just going to head on over to C#, if I can spell his name right, C# Fritz. So he has a few projects he's been working on. Some of the top ones he's been working on here lately is he's got stuff for his questions about his live stream. Here's the tools we'll be using. The other awesome thing, he's been working with the Stream Deck toolkit. So our friends over at Elgato recently released an SDK for their Stream Deck, allowing you to interact with the commands and the buttons themselves on the deck. So you can, a counters was an obvious one. Some people use like CPU, so it allows you to easily see your CPU usage and see if it gets high, all that kind of stuff. So he's been working on a .NET wrapper or .NET plugin that allows you to basically write all your stuff with C# and .NET and Visual Studio, and then just plug it on drop it on into the Stream Deck. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the StreamTools now. So who am I logged in as here? I am logged in as Dev's Garage, which is good because that's who I want to be logged in as. All right, so this is our StreamTools. So the first thing we want to do is we want to fork it. So again, I've done a lot of enterprise and personal development. So GitHub has not been one of my main go-tos until here, I don't know, the past year or so. So we're all going to learn a little bit more today, hopefully, because I've never actually forked a project, done some editing, and then created a pull request in the GitHub environment. So if the chat room, if you've got any suggestions, let me know. I'm trying to be better. I have a few streams I've not monitored as well, but we're gonna get better at that. So let's move on over here. All right, so we want to fork it. So let's go ahead and click fork. Forking C# Fritz StreamTools. Should only take a few seconds. Refresh. All right, so there we go. We have our version of it. So if you want to help, you want to contribute to any changes we make to this, you can go to github.com/devsgarage and go to the Fritz StreamTools. So we will be, all right, so there's that. I think next thing I want to do, I'm going to open, I got PowerShell open back here. Resize that. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this agenda, make our, let's go hide that, and make our chat window a little bit bigger here. Since we're not actually doing that, that was from last week's code kata where we did the bowling kata, working on unit testing. So if you want to know more about unit testing, want to practice a little bit, maybe a little bit of TDD, go check out last week's stream on YouTube. I have it out there for video on demand, or on Twitch here. But let's go ahead and hide this. I have a co-host this morning. She I have a little new puppy, and she's down here gnawing away. I'm going to check down here every now and then just to make sure she's not chewing my green screen or any necessary cables. So just a second. All right, looks like she's just chewing on her foot right now. She's chewed up socks. She chewed up the power cord on my Mac, my MacBook Pro. She didn't quite make it through to the wire, but she just took off all that plastic on the outside. You gotta love new puppies. All right, so the agenda, we want to go ahead and hide that. Make our chat room just a little bit taller here. Let's see. OBS doesn't always like my my big screens, my high density screens. So let's see how that worked. Come on, OBS, work for me here. Uh-oh. So that didn't do like I wanted, I don't think. Nope. And it froze on me. Oh, wow. All right. Well, I probably shouldn't be doing this stuff live. Let's try that one more time. Let's try 1080 here, see what that looks like. Well, it looks like it tried to, but it didn't actually increase the size of the chat room. Well, that's fun. All right, well, we're going to move on. So,
just do it!
All right, yes, sir. We're going to go ahead and move on. If I'm not talking loud enough or any of the sounds are too loud, chat room, please let me know. I'm still adjusting some volume settings, so all right. So let's head on over here. Let's see. Force the chat room to refresh here, and it's still not liking it. All right. All right, so I want to go ahead and make a new directory. We're going to call this Fritz.StreamTools. All right. So let's come into CD space Fritz.StreamTools. All right, so we want to go ahead and get a copy of this. All right, so see, does that work? Nope, not a Git. All right. And I am still new at this whole Git pulling from a remote repository. I've done pretty good at bringing them down in Visual Studio, but I've been trying to get better at doing the command line stuff. So let's git pull from remote branch. Git. Do I want to do a clone? Maybe that's what I want to do. Clone remote branch here. All right, so we want to do git dash. Is it dash dash? No, just git clone. There we go. Oh, and it moved it up one directory as well. So that's all right. Learn something new. I don't have to actually create the directory when I clone it. It'll just use the name of the project. Clear. As you can see, I'm also using, if you want to know what makes this pull right here, that's called PoshGit. You can go and get that and install it from GitHub. Just Google PoshGit and pull it down. And it actually lets you see where your branch currently is, if you've got any modified files, or if the remote repository has some updates that you're missing. So just kind of a little Git status for you right there. The other things you can always do, Git status, to see what's going on. So we're all good there. Did I? Let me look at something real quick, because, yep, okay, that's from me. All right, so now I'm going to open up Visual Studio 2019, because that's kind of what I've been trying to play with. One of the things I want to do here is I want to try and, test out the latest and greatest applications. And let's see, did I? I bet I didn't download Visual Studio on this machine. It doesn't. 2019 on this machine. So we're going to use 2017 today. My goal is to get 2019 put on here so we can play around with that. In order to help my stream out, my machine that I'm streaming with a little bit, I'm actually remote desktoping into another machine that allows me to keep the CPU usage and hopefully a nice smooth stream for y'all. All right. So let's go open our project solution. StreamTools. All right. So one thing I also want to point out here when we go look at Mr. Fritz's, oh, come on, Chrome. There we go. All right. He has a nice set of documentation. They've got the README starting to fill it out real nice. One of the sections we're going to be working on today is called the rundown. And so that is what actually shows that little list that was over here on the side. So if I show it back again, that's what's showing that there. That's what he calls the rundown, which basically it could be an agenda of what's going on or where we currently at and what we want to accomplish kind of thing. So it made sense. And so we're going to leave it with the name. But down here, he tells you actually how to just pull this project down and get it up and running. So you can just run that. So you're going to do Docker compose to build the, basically build the project and then run it as well. So, oh, it wants me to sign in. the right password here. There we go. All right. The system cannot find the specified file. Oh, you gotta love some of this stuff. Oh, it's trying to do some other things here. We're just going to go ahead and see if we can't ignore this. Nope, I want to hide you. There we go. DevArt T4 editor extension. I don't remember having a T4 editor installed here. It's certainly possible, but Visual Studio seems to think I can turn it off to make it faster. Going to see if we can't just go ahead and come over here, and we're going to go ahead and paste in that Docker compose command just to see if we can't get it up and running. System cannot find the file specified. That should be right? Oh, I know what I need. I know what it wants me to do. I need to go one more directory up to the actual StreamTools. Let's try that again. No. So why does it tell me you cannot find docker-compose, docker-compose.yaml? Interesting. Let's try compose dash dash build. Windows name pipe error. The system cannot find the file specified. Do we have a problem in our YAML? All right, let's also bump up the font size here. Let's take a look at our Docker YAML here. That's Fritz.StreamTools Docker file. All right, I'm going to try something real quick. I'm going to close Visual Studio and restart it. Docker client must be running elevated privileges. I wonder, let's try something here. Is it saying I need to run Visual Studio in elevated privileges? Yes. Let's try this again. Nope, didn't like that. Do I have Docker running down here? I do not. That could be the problem. Let's run Docker here. And I'll get that resolved later. Stop. I do not want to sign in. All right, so Docker is now running. Maybe that was our problem the whole time. Let me try this again. Close solution. Restart it here. Your Docker servers for Windows. Would you like to switch to Linux? That's all right. So that's helpful now. It'd be nice if that previous error said, hey, you don't have Docker running. Let's go ahead and you want to turn it on, or do you want us to? That would be more helpful than, hey, there's an error here that tells me nothing about really what's going on. So let's go ahead and let's switch this to Linux containers. It's going to have to shut down and restart. Let's check on Docker while it starts running. Always found it takes just a little bit for it to switch over. I think the last time I had to do this on my other machine, I had to actually end up rebooting the whole thing. So hopefully that doesn't happen here. Hopefully it's able to quickly start. Come on, Docker, work for me here. All right, so this project has a whole bunch of stuff in it. So let's take a look at it in GitHub here. The things I think we're going to be most concerned with are going to be the rundown.cshtml. So this is actually what gets displayed right now. Today's stream is going to be the one that actually kind of is being used on OBS here, as you point to the side here, all the way over on the other side. And so that's what's getting displayed there. Not editable by any means. Doesn't actually really look too complicated. And then there's just an admin page that goes right along with it. It's all fairly simple. He actually uses just a polling function here to basically just go check for updates. Is this the admin? I'm sorry, this is the admin. This doesn't use the polling function. It actually pushes the data out to the server, and then the other one has the polling function to go figure it out. All right, let's take this back. Let's check on Docker here. Docker desktop is running. It says once switch to Windows. That lets me know I'm actually running in Linux. So let's open up our project again. All right, pulling missing Docker images. So that's something that's going to take just a second. And now I should actually be able to come back over here. I'm going to wait for it to prep the containers real quick, because once it gets it down there, then my build is not going to try and pull it down anymore. So it's actually building the Fritz.StreamTools for me. And our goal here is just to get it running, just to look and see what it's doing. And then we'll start actually making our modifications. He's got a bunch of cool stuff in here. Integrations with Twitch. He's got a main core library that shares some of its services across the different projects. He's got his own chat bot he built, which kind of handles some of the getting the user's attention inside the chat window, and some other little special commands. He's got some cool stuff going. So one of my goals is to start getting this integrated into my stream. And while we're doing it, I have the need for the agenda. So that's kind of why I picked this one. I felt like it was a good place to get started. So let's try our Docker up here one more time. Oh, I'm one level too deep, too far out. StreamTools. There we go. Now we should be in a little bit better state here. So right now it's actually downloading some of the Docker containers that I was missing, since I've not actually really run this on this machine yet. It's downloading the Docker images that were defined. Let's see, StreamTools project is where we want to be. Inside this Docker file. If you've never had any exposure to Docker before, basically containers. It lets you run your applications, web or desktop, inside a sandbox version of, call it a container, but it's like an operating system running inside there. So a very lightweight system. Let's see. So here we can see it's got a Microsoft container that's running. We've got .NET Core, ASP.NET Core runtime on it. You've got a build box with basically the .NET Core SDK on it. So one of the nice things is when you build this, you actually get a lot of extra files and stuff that you don't need. And so the idea here is we have multiple containers. We have one that's a build container. We have our base image. A build container where we actually do the building of our project. And then when that's all done, we actually publish it. And so we have another one that's basically from our build, we call it publish, and we run the publish command on it, which then puts it into a directory. And then so from base as final, we take from that working dir, we copy everything in that publish directory over to, so this is from the publish image into bases or finals / app directory. And then we create an entry point here, which is .NET and Fritz.StreamTools. So if we look at the command we actually ran, let me back up, build Docker Compose up. And it tells the Docker file. That's the publishing. Let me take a look at this real quick. So now where does it actually tell you to run that? So it says, so the entry point we defined. So that means when this boots up, this is what the this is what it's going to run. It's going to run the .NET command, which if you're familiar with the .NET Core, it's actually a command line interface, a CLI command that lets you do the .NET, the building, publishing, and actually running of .NET files. So we're actually saying call .NET and pass it this argument, which is the library that we want to run it against, which is our .NET Core StreamTools library. So if we come back over here, so the Docker Compose is done. Get rid of that. What he also tells you, once you run that, your Docker container is running. So we should be able to go back one more. So you want to do a Docker PS. So this is going to tell you what containers you have running. Make this a little bit bigger here. And so I've actually got 2 Docker containers running. And the image name is Fritz.StreamTools dev. And then Fritz.StreamTools. So this is the one we're concerned with here. And it tells us our port we get to go into. So now I should be able to punch this into the browser for localhost. And there we have our StreamTools. Yay. All right. Hey, we're moving along. So one of the things we want, I believe he calls it rundown. Let's check it out. Yes. So here's his default stuff. So you've got your rundown here. This is what normally is showing right over there for him. If he had this on his stream, it'd be this list. This is the list with just static in there. We'll go take a look at it in just a second. And then we have the opportunity to do, let's copy this to here. Instead of rundown, we're going to call it admin. And there we go. So let's just pop this out real quick. And so there we have our 2. So if I click on this, it's going to update behind the scenes and we should see it check mark over here. And so I can just click all of these down here. As you can see them getting populated there. And there's the last ones. So now the thing is we want to be able to edit this. We want to be able to change the title without having to take the entire Docker or the entire Docker containers down, modifying the files, then rebuilding that whole process we just went through, and excuse me, and then restarting everything up. We want to be able to just edit it right here in the admin and have it show up here. So that is our goal. So I'm going to go ahead, Docker compose down. So what that's going to do, that's basically just going to take down our Docker containers we had running. So if we look at Docker PS again, you can see we still have the Fritz.StreamTools dev. That was something different that was running, I think. Let's see what's running over there on that. No, nothing running there. That's interesting. Okay. We'll look at that later. We want to get here and we want to start modifying stuff. So let's come into our tools. We're going to open up the, see, I think I saw it in pages, and the admin. And then let's look at the admin.cshtml. So, and the code behind file of the CSHTML, which is what's used for Razor pages. So you've got your Razor pages. Easily to be able to tell if you're using a Razor pages if you have this @page @model. So here he's using a repository. We can take a quick look at that. And here we see that static list that we saw. That's all it is. So we want to make sure, we want to come in here, we want to make this a little bit more dynamic. All the properties, all the methods we need are inside this repository to go in and edit this list. We can start with a default set and then let it either clear or just remove all of it, or add or change. So that's kind of our goal. All right, first thing I want to work with is I want to work with the title. I want to be able to change it from, if we look at the rundown, that's the title of the page, today's stream. So right now it's actually static text. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to change that. We're going to make it something a little bit more. We're going to make it dynamic. Pretty small font. Thank you, C#. I am, oh yeah, running 99. Let's bump that up. Let me know. Does that help you? Is that better? 150? Do we need to go bigger, or? I think that'll be good for now. Right. Okay. Let's see here. All right, perfect. Thank you. All right, so we want to make this. So first thing we want to do, we get all our stuff from the repository. So rundown repository, this.repo. It's public, so it means it's accessible inside here. So we're going to start out. We're going to use the philosophy here of make it work, make it right, make it fast. So we're going to do some things. Probably it's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. Yeah, we just want to get it working right now, and we can make it better. So we're going to call it title. Just use title. Getting set. And I think with that, we can actually use a little fat arrow here and say today's stream. Can we do that? For some reason I was thinking we could. Doesn't like it. Does it want me to do a block? Now, I used to swear you could use the fat arrow on the on this to basically set the property behind it, the backing property here. Public string title get set. No, see, I gotta look that up. That bothers me. C# property default value. C# auto property default value. Oh, you don't use the fat arrow. You just set it. Like that. Perfect. All right. There we go. So now we have a title property for today's stream. Come over here. Now we should be able to just replace this. The lovely thing about the Razor syntax. I just do the @ and it knows I want to use basically the model. So I should be able to do that. Let's build the project here. All right. Build failed. Title does not exist in the current context. Is that because I need to do... I bet that's why. I have it there. Yep, there it is now. All right. So there we know that should work now. And that should then make that. So that has that set as the. Now the other thing we want to do, we want to make it an entry. Why are you complaining about that? Attribute checked. Oh, I know that works. We saw it work, so. Visual Studio is wrong on that one. So let's make this startup project. Let's just run this in IIS Express because I don't want to have to rebuild. You saw that Docker compose. Took just a little bit to get up and running just for testing. So we just want to run this locally, test it out, make sure things are working the way we want it. Hopefully be a little bit quicker. So let's go to the admin page, make sure it still says today's stream. All right. Oops, there we go. All right, so now we want to make this an entry. We want to be able to edit this. I think there is it entry? It's been a long time since I've done HTML, so input I think is actually what we want it to be. Change closing tag. Self-closing element. Let's type equals text. Oh, text. There we go. That's the name we want. Let's see, what are we wanting here? Model. So how does that work inside a Razor Paste? Input inside Razor. First name, input type, text. Let's see. Value, that's what we wanted. Value equals that. All right. Let's browser link this. Enable browser link. Let's see, did that work? There it is. So now we get to do today's stream. All right. Okay, we've got that. So there's that. Now we also want to have actually want to. So our ultimate goal is to be able to not only change it on the admin, but have it show up here. So that's our next goal. So right now he's attaching to the check item, which is these, some JavaScript here. We can add, I think here. We're going to do kind of the same thing. Let's give it a name here, an ID. Actually, let's just give it a class. Title. We could do kind of the same thing here. Title dot change function effect spell. All right, go ahead and close that. Let's call this title equals okay, so we just want to basically send any updates to this back. So when we change it, we want to send the updates back. So we're going to just make an AJAX call. Now we'll have to go define this. We've not defined the our API yet. Put URL title. So we'll call it title. Oh. There we go. Oh, come on. No. So we want to stringify it just in case we put any kind of special characters in there. And we want title dot. All right, we want value. So this is saying val. Let's try that. Data type JSON. Content type text/JSON. That should be good. Let's go ahead and add some console logging here, so a little easier to debug. Console log title. Just so we can see what we're doing. Let's come back over here. Look at the debugging tools here. All right, let's look at our console. Did we get anything out of here? Console.memory is not implemented. Attributes. Okay. Let's try and change this. Streams. Did we actually get anything? Doesn't look like it. I know what we can do is check our network. Did we actually make the AJAX call? Because it should have. If it made it, let's. So it made that one. Debugger. Well, that's jQuery. That's not what I want. I don't like using Edge. I prefer using Chrome when I'm debugging. Their tools just seem to be so much better. So let's go do that. All right, so let me look at these tools here. That's better. Let's see what I want. Oh, there we go. Ah. Run side by side here. Console. Today's streams. There we go. Hey, that's exactly what I expected. We've not created the API yet. So let's go do that now. All right. So our controllers, we're going to add the rundown item controller. So we preface that one. Do I want to change that, or I don't really want to. I want to leave these as standard. Okay, we're going to create a new controller here. And we're going to call this add new. Oh, you're going to make me stop, aren't you? Yep, close all those tabs. I don't want them open. Add new controller. Yeah, while I was running it would not let me add it. So we're going to add a new one here. I'm going to make it empty. I'm going to call it the rundown controller. We'll generate some code for us. So let's look back here in a JavaScript. What do we call that? API/title. Let's do API/rundown/title. Let's come over here to our new control, our rundown controller here. We're just going to change this to rundown. Let's see. Just going to copy this here. Except, oh, that didn't work right. Oh, wait. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, there we go. We're going to take this as a string. Don't need an ID. And this is going to be API rundown. title slash just like that. I think that's the correct syntax here. Yeah, but let's see. Rundown API rundown slash item. Items ID. I think that's right. Let's test it out. That won't build because we need to do that. Just see if we can get through that. Come back over to my JavaScript real quick. See, did we do good here? Yep. Right. Let's rerun this now. I don't really care about that because that's not what we're using. These are the two we're using here. All right. API rundown slash title not found. Rundown slash. So it is there. It's API rundown. API slash items. Let's look at something again real quick here. So that called. If we look at our network here, it called API slash items with the 10. We called API slash rundown. Okay, yeah. So we tried to send that. Why did you not find it? So that's the items controller. API rundown title. From body string value. If we look over in our JavaScript here, we did put in the body display that. I wonder, let's look at something here. I wonder if that call didn't actually get what I wanted it to get. All right, let's try this again. All right, so we've got that. Live debugging at its best here. So title is that. Okay, if we look at title.val, so where is what we actually want? There's the class name. value. Oh, so value is what we want. Okay. Let's continue on. So that may not have actually functioned right. Let's change this to value. Save it. Refresh that. All right, let's try this again. There's that. Do title.value. Oh. Step over. We got to actually assign it before we can read it. This title.value is undefined. But we see it right there. It's today's streams. All right. Let's come back here. A little bit more debugging here. That's what I want to do. All right. Gotta love trial and error. All right, let's refresh here. Let's try this again. We got that. Perfect. Still got a 404 not found on this API. Why is this API not found? TITLE rundown / title. It's like these are look at our network. It is do with that, does it? Can't be that simple. No. Nope, still didn't work. Now, did I miss a step here? Do we have to actually define these? You don't have to define these anywhere, I don't think. If you add a new controller. All right. It's for hubs, startup services. Rundown repository. I'm just going to do a quick find here on rundown item. Yeah, so so why is this not recognizing this API? There is some differences here. So we're gonna stop this. This one to inherit from controller base, but we're going to inherit it from a controller. We're going to take this off. I'm going to say it produces application.json. When you can't get it to work, make it look like something that does. That may help you quickly identify what the problem is. All right, let's try this again. so let's refresh here. I'm going to clear that. Okay, that still works. Today's stream. Remove those because we know that works. It's getting us the correct value, and that says that doesn't exist. All right, so I'm going to. I've got to stop it to do that. Does the casing matter? I don't think so. I don't think it should matter, but let's find out. API/rundown. Oh. I don't think that's going to. Couple more things to try here. Yep, that didn't find it. Stop this. I don't know that I need the slash prefacing that. Get my tools open here. Just want to make sure we're good. That was it. Okay. So that was good. So what happened was basically I had the extra slash in front of here that was preventing this from properly doing this URL. So all right. So we got that. So now we get the value. So now we actually got to put it somewhere so that we can actually read it back out and show it on initial load. So I'm going to go ahead and take this down now. We have that repository, which is in rundown repository. All right. Go ahead and I'm going to collapse everything so I can read here. So basically in the repository, we got an add a rundown item. See, this almost feels like it should be a rundown item repository and not the rundown repository. Add, update, delete items. That's correct. Because I almost going to want to refactor this rundown stuff into basically another class, another object type. That still may not be what we want. But again, make it work, make it right, and make it fast. So we're going to add another method here. This probably is not what you should be doing, but we're going to do a private static read only string. Use the same. So I'm not a big fan of the underscores here, but when you're working with a open source project or other projects that with other developers, you want to be mindful of the standards that they set. So while I don't like it and it's something that bothers me, it's not my project at the end of the day. So I'm going to use what Mr. Fritz here had set forth and says he wants to use underscore for his private variables, underscore capitals specifically. And that's what we're going to do. So we're going to follow the same pattern. I'm just going to create title here. Public void update title string title, and it's very simple. Title equals title. All right. Better. But those go back. Not sure why I did that. Private static. Oh, it says read only. Can't update a read only. Can make it a private static string. Can't be read only because we do want to update it. So we'll end up changing that as well. All right. So let's rerun this again. Yeah, I know you. Refresh this. Let's make sure we're still good here. Oh, we are good there, but what I didn't do, while I updated the repository, I did not update the rundown controller to use the repository. So like here, he's got actually a reference to the repository, which can be used throughout this entire controller. We're going to do the same thing. So we're going to go ahead and mimic this a little bit. So my rundown controller. So I want to add a constructor. Why is my spacing all off here? Bothers me some. Okay, that's better. And we're going to take in a rundown repository. So I use Control Dot there just to bring up this context menu real quick so I don't have to take my hands off the keyboard and move it to the mouse. And so it allows me to set the using statements here. So we're going to go ahead and use that. And so again, we want to mimic the syntax, the structure that was set forth by the original repo owner. And so they called it property in repo. Just make naming consistent. And so we are going to do, that's why it's doing it. This whole thing is, sorry, I have to, alignments and stuff will bug me like no other. Okay, so public repository. Something about the way this is doing the pretty printing. It's not working correctly. All right, so we're just going to say repository is equal to repo. Uses this, capitalize the repository, uses this syntax. All right, so now this one has that. So then we can come down here and say repo repository dot update title equals some method. All right, so now we're actually, when we get it back, we're actually now putting it inside a repository. So the next thing I want to do real quick is I want to come down to the rundown file, because now that we're getting it in, I want to actually make sure we put it back up on the other side. Pages here. All right. So now we need a way to get the title. Now we're storing it and stuff. We have not actually put in a way to get it from the repository. So let's do public. There we go. I'm going to return, get title. It's only a title. So we're going to do return underscore title. What is going on here? There we go. So now we have a way inside our repo to update and get the title. So now we should be in our rundown CS.HTML. So we can call this title equals model dot repository get title. One thing I do like, it's been a while since I've used Razor syntax, but the actual IntelliSense, being able to read all this, has gotten much better in the later versions of the Razor pages. So I am liking that. I'm liking the IntelliSense. All right, let's build that. You have mixed tabs and spaces. Fix this. Again, not my project. I'm not going to modify a whole bunch of files just for formatting. Unless you make that its own PR. One thing that'll frustrate a maintainer, someone who's maintaining the repository, is if you try and go and mess with the way they've got things set up. You may be trying to fix something, in one file, adding some great functions, but if you go and then just change whether it's using tabs or spaces throughout their entire project, that's a quick way to get your PR shut down. So PRs are for one thing and one focus for your PR. Our focus here is making entries, being able to edit editable entries. So that's what this one's going to work on. All right, so now that we have that, let's look. So we have our H2. Let's just do, now we should be able to do at title. All right. Got that running. All right, let's come back over here. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that up, but I'm going to open a new tab here, and we're going to bring down the rundown. Yeah. All right. Oh. All right. So we didn't update that one, so that's still doing its default there of today's streams. We're going to go ahead. We'll fix that here in just a second. But you can see here, it's actually bringing down the new title we set forth in our project here. Our default value for, I don't want to compose, our repository, rundown title. So that's good. We know that's working. So let's go through and let's just update this. Let's refresh this. All right, let's do today's streams. Do that. I'm betting I have to refresh there. Okay. So the one thing we're not doing is in our, let's open it up here. Inside our rundown, there at the bottom here, he's got some JavaScript that goes through. And it's got a set interval, and what it's doing, it's basically going, hitting the API to get the items and updating the items, basically updating the checked value of an item depending on what it is. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to go through and we're going to actually update this title with the title if it's changed. Should be if it's changed, or should we just always update it every time? This is doing it every 5 seconds, going and checking. We'll do that. I think a good option here for further down the road and something that'd be awesome to get into is to look at SignalR. And every time we push it, just with WebSockets or long polling, let SignalR figure out the best way to go and refresh its data, and just use that method. I know he's using it throughout some of his other projects in here, so might be something we can easily leverage. But again, we're just going to little bits at a time. All right, so I'm going to need a new API to get the title. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and ipget. I'm curious here. I actually want to take a look at this real quick. Yeah, okay. I'm just going to do the get. Oh, actually, no, I do need title there. We're going to always return an I action result. Get. Man, that formatting just bothers me. All right. We're going to return. Okay. Then repository dot get title. Yep. So he's returning OKs there. All right, let's come down over to our JavaScript here. Follow my own rule here. So let's create a new window dot interval function okay. At the end of this function, we're going to want an interval. We'll do it every 5 seconds as well. You know what? We'll save us some time here. Every time that kicks off, we'll do this one as well. We could separate it out if we wanted to go at different intervals potentially. Right now, we're just going to make it work. URL is going to be our API / rundown / title. So that once we get a result back, do this little function here. All right, so what do we want to do when we get the data? Basically, we're going to document dot get element by ID. We're going to call this title. Title equals get element by ID. What's wrong here? Oh, misspelled function again. There we go. Fix the formatting. Oh. There it goes. All right. So we get the title. Don't format that for me. so do title dot value equals data. Or I wonder if it's actually in JavaScript. I wonder if it's if we can do that. Let's build it and let's test it out. Ah, the joys of JavaScript and HTML. All right, built. Let's run it. Yeah, not the page I want. I want these two. Let's refresh our admin real quick. Refresh this. Now, have this open for this one. So we know that piece works. The one we need to look at is this one. Cannot read property val of null. Well, let's check this out. Ooh, what happened? Come here. No, that's not what I wanted. Okay, well, cannot read property val of null. Oh, yeah, because this is null. Because we did not actually update our title with the ID of title. Let's try that again. What's going on here now? So if I look here, so we have the ID title. Type ever title.val is not a function of the object. Okay. That's true because that's an H2 and not a input. All right. All right, let's figure this out real quick. Take our JavaScript and we're going to update. Update HTML H2. It's just saying just inner HTML. There it is. Okay, so that should auto refresh for me. Get our pages back open here. That's what I want. Refresh that. I'm going to refresh that. Okay, let's look at our tools again. Title.innerHTML is not a function. Did I? Yep, I certainly did that. See, not everybody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. So please don't feel bad if you're like, hey, it's that when you make a mistake, we all do it. I make a lot of them. This is just a few of the ones I'm going to make throughout our adventure. All right, let's try that again. Let's look at our tools here. I don't see any red. It's a good sign. All right, let's try bring this up. I'm going to bring this back up here. We're going to change this. Today's streams. All right. Crossing our finger here. Is it going to work? Come on. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. All right. Woo. So now we can basically update our title. Got a tab off of that. That's the only thing I don't like. Maybe we'll fix that. Kind of one of my ideas I was having here was have this actually as a text element. And then when you click on it, it switches into an editable form. And then do you have a save button after that? I toy with the different philosophies that a lot of designers put forth is that, you know, it should change as you change the letter. It should automatically update everything. Do we do that here? Is that too much? Are we sending too much data to the server if we do that? I don't know. But it'd be something cool to try because I don't like having to tab off of it in order to set everything. So we'll do that one more thing, and that'll probably be my my first bit for today. And then we'll just do a git commit. We'll do a git push. Next thing we want to do probably on our next stream next week, unless I get an itch, we're going to try and make these editable. Make the items part editable. And then adding and removing items from there. So kind of our three things we're going to do here. All right. And maybe I'll go ahead and get my agenda updated over there. Yeah, my agenda updated with what we're doing here and kind of our goal for the stream. Kind of like that. All right. So let's... All right, so if we... So how would we make a... That's not the right one. Let's come over here. Let's do an update every time we change an item here on our admin. So right now we're tying into the change function. Oh. I'm not... Whoa, what am I doing here? That's what it is. Dot. Do we have a method that we can get updated in JavaScript every time that someone presses a key in the entry field? Chat room, do you have any ideas on that one? Whoa, my green screen's freaking out just a little bit here. That's because I'm not fully controlling my lighting. I have some sunshine. It's actually starting to come out here in Oklahoma. It's getting kind of dreary the past couple days, so it's actually affecting the lighting in my room. So you may see a little fuzziness start to show up here. Again, I'm going to get better at this stuff. So let's go to my good friend Google and let's find out what he's got to say about or she. Google could be a girl or a boy or it. I'll just use the non-gender specific pronoun it. See what it has to say. So JavaScript input tag. Is it on chain? Change key down. Is that what I want? Key down or the on key down? Get the value of input text when enter key is pressed. I don't want when enter key pressed. Get value input when value changes. Input type text, jQuery. This is kind of what we're doing already, but we want every time that a key changes. So this is saying do on. So always try to use an event lister like this. That's recommended over bind. So if we do on, let's try the on event here. Instead of change, we'll do on. Let's get this running one more time here. Is that? Did I change it in the right spot? Let's make sure about that. Admin. Yep, admin's where we wanted to change it. So there's the admin. Let's refresh that. No, that's the rundown. The admin is right here. Today's stream. Yeah, that didn't look like it changed. No? All right. Not getting anything in it either. All right. So on is obviously not what we want. So let's go back, just make sure it still works with the old code. Streams, tab away, come over here, and we should see that change today's streams. There we go. All right, so that's obviously not the one we're looking for. Is there anything else in here? This solution helped me to progress on my project. So I wonder if maybe I don't have the right. So, okay. So the key up, nothing happens when pasting text into the box. For example, input.change only triggers when the input is blurred. You know when a text box value has changed. On is recommended over bind. All right, so let's look at that. On jQuery on method. So what are the, so you can say on click. What are the different events that fire? I guess that's what we need to do. We figure out what events fire when an input is changed. Input change event. So execute. That's the on change. When a user changes the content of an input field. So we're using change. Can I use on change? And would this work? I didn't want to do the. Let's try multiple S's here. Let's just stay here. At 5 seconds, it should update. Should. Unless we actually have an error. There, yep. On change is not a function. Is it a capital C? I bet it's a capital C. No. No, it's not. It's because it's JavaScript, not jQuery. Okay. This is still change. Get value of input when value changes. That's what we want. .val.change. Events change, input, cut, copy, paste. All good stuff. Change event triggers when an element has finished changing. The input event triggers. Unlike keeper events, it works on any value change, even those. All right, let's try that. See how that works. Input is not a function. Of course not. Why would it be that simple? I bet I can use our on here. Let's do that. There's this. Go ahead and clear this console. Let's do that. All right, that looks good. Let's refresh that. Looks like it did. There we go. All right. Okay. Whoa. Right.
Just do it!
That's right. So there we go. We got it now. We can make changes to this. So if I delete this, there it goes. It's gone. Say agenda love. Yeah. No, my typing is screwed up right now. Agenda live. There we go. All right. Learned something new today. Well, you all probably knew this. I'm not really a web developer. I do a lot of desktop, a lot of mobile now. So some of the JavaScript stuff I've never quite been fully versed in. But you know what? We learn, we get better. I learned something new. I learned about the on and the input, though they do sound familiar. We learned a little bit more about our controllers when we define them, how you don't want the slashes in front of the route. So that's good. I like that. I'm pleased with where we're at. I want to do one more thing before we do it. Let's do a little build here. Let's do our Docker. And just make sure it works from Docker. You know, that's the last little step we'll do before we actually push our changes to our repo. Build succeeded. Got some warnings in there. That's fine. All right. So let's do a Docker PS. See, we're going to be listening. So we're on 32,770. All right, we're going to go ahead and change this stuff here. All right, so that shows there. Let's go do this one. Oh. Not the right one to change. Go to the admin. should come down here. Just hit today's streams. There we go. All right. So got one more thing to do is we need to actually fix the admin page. I just saw that. So now that we know that stuff works, we're going to just say docker compose down. All right. One more change in the admin file. So when we load this up here at the top, model.title. So if we come over here, there we go. We set the default. So what we really want to do is I'm just going to take this away. Do I even need this title here anymore? Can I take that out and be good? And then we come up here. So let's do a var title equals model.repository.get title. And change this here to @title. All right, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to trust in myself that I know what I just did, and that's not Docker. That's not the right one I want to do. That's the one I want to do. I'm going to trust that I did it right. It's going to work the first time. This could be my downfall. It could work perfectly. We'll find out. Come on, Docker, let's get it going. Once you get those Docker container images, those base images downloaded, they're cached there. Much quicker process. Just that initial download. It knows it doesn't have to go back out there and get them. All right, so Docker PS. See where we're running at. We are on 32,771. Copy that. Let's change the right one here, Ryan. There, now we have rundown title, and this should match exactly what's over here. And now we say today's stream. Perfect. Ship it. Ship it. It's done. Oh, yes. All right. Docker down. All right, so let's do a git status, just see what we've got here. So we've modified the Fritz.StreamTools models rundown repository, CSHTML, all that looks good. We added this controller. And so we're going to do git add doc, because I want to add them all. Let's do git status again. All right, so we'll do a git commit. These are things I'm a little bit more familiar with because these are something I do or have been doing almost a daily basis. So we're going to say today we made rundown title editable. All right, let's do a git push. Ooh, all right. Now we're in sync. So now if we come back over here, again, if you, the chat room, or any of our viewers watching from the future want to help, want to contribute, help me, learn more about this stuff, practice your skills, practice becoming an open source contributor, please do. Again, that's really what this is about. So we're at github.com/devsgarage. Yeah, thank you. We're in our Fritz.StreamTools repository here. And our last commit made the rundown editable. So you should be able to pull this down, run it, test it, play with it. If you got questions over it, hit me up. You've got my Twitter there, up there in the corner. You can always hit the chat room. You can hit my website if you want more information on how to get in touch with me. My personal website is onyxprime.github.io. You should probably be able to find it in the stream notes down below. But got more ways to get in touch with me. If you haven't followed me, please follow. I'm going to try and stream every week, if not more. So either follow me on Twitch. If you're watching this from YouTube, hit the subscribe button to be notified whenever I put a new video out there. Because when I do a stream, usually within a few hours afterwards, after we're done, I'm going to get it uploaded to YouTube, so you'll be able to watch it whenever you have availability. And I also tweet out when we're getting ready to go, when we go live, and when streams are coming up. If you have any ideas for stuff you want to do, you want to make things better, some projects you want us to work on, hit me up. This stream is not only for me to experiment and do other things, but it's for you, the viewer, to see things that you care about. And if I'm not doing that, if I'm not showing you what you want to see, let me know. If there's ways you think that I can improve this stream, please let me know that as well. I appreciate everybody who's out there who's watching this. We hit about 2 hours. I wanted to say it was going to be about an hour of a stream, but I always seem to be going about 2 hours now. And it feels comfortable. It feels right. So I typically going to keep the time open-ended because we're going to go till we hit basically a stopping point. So thanks, everybody. I appreciate everything. I appreciate all you guys. And I am make sure I get the right stuff here. So talk to y'all later. Bye.